All right, I know for sure I'm live now. Thank you so much for coming today. I am very excited about continuing the Organize October challenge, and it's been so fun to see so many reports rolling in from our week in the kitchen. Everyone's takeaways have been so great to see, like so many good insights. And what I just love to see are all the women who say that just doing a few little things really does make a world of difference. Really, getting started is the hardest part. And what this challenge and these tasks that I've picked really help us do is get started, get some momentum, get some traction, and then we can see more results in our home, but also in ourselves, in our attitude and our approach to our home than we thought. We tend to think that it's going to take a massive overhaul and a whole new plan and several intense cleaning and work days before we will feel like we're on top of our game and making traction. We tend to make getting started a bigger thing than it really needs to be. And so these tasks that we are going to be doing in the kitchen week and that we are going to keep continuing to do through all 5 weeks of Organize October are small yet very meaningful and significant tasks that help us make way more traction than we thought possible in such a short time. So I'm so excited to see the reports that confirm that yes, that is what's happening. And so that's a little bit of a relief. So now we are ready to plow ahead. And yes, these are the things that we need to do that really will make a key difference. Everyone who finished the week 1 kitchen checklist is entered into the bunch of giveaways that I'm doing at the end of the month. And then they also got an instant digital prize. That was the vocations guide, which I normally sell in my shop for $12, or might be 17, something like that. Under 20, but it's a guide that is for sale. And everyone who completed week 1 got that for free. There's going to be another surprise valuable prize. The vocations guide also is inside the Work Your Plan course. If you're in Convivial Circle, it is a part of the vocations module. And there's much more on vocations in the vocations module of Work Your Plan, but the condensed version is in that guide. And I know that so many women have told me that just thinking through their life and the work that they have to do in terms of vocations and separate vocations that each need time has helped them approach their to-do list with a lot more sanity and purpose. If you got that free guide last week, then do look over that when you have time, because it is a way to help you say no to it's a way to help you know what you should say no to, and to be confirmed that you are doing the good work that you are supposed to be doing. Sometimes we can feel bad that we have a lot to do, and figuring out the vocations can also just help reassure us, like, no, you're actually on the right path. This is all good work. It's fine. This is what you're called to do. That means with God's help, God's grace, there is a way to do it. So it's a way to just help you assess your to-do list and your time and balance with a biblical framework. Week 2, our theme is the living room. And this one's tricky because I know every house has a kitchen, right? And we all do the same kind of work in the kitchen. But it's a little bit more tricky once you get to other rooms in the house, because everyone's space is different. The size, the layout, and the layout of a house really does affect the amount of work that it takes to keep up with the space. And it also affects the flow of the house and the way a family uses it. So much that goes into it. So it's tricky to come up with what to focus on in the living room. So if any of these tasks do need to adapt, then feel free to do that. But I'm pretty sure that they should be general enough that almost everyone can do it. It is the living room and entryway, because I do know it is very common for the front door to open into the living room space. So we're considering both of those areas together. Even if you have a separate entry, it's likely nearby or goes right into your living room. And the entryway itself is a space to consider, because that's where it's a transition space, and it's where it's a first impression space. It's a come into our home space. And it's a space that often doesn't get as much attention as it gets use. And again, it's a little bit different because some people might primarily use a back door or the garage door as their family in and out. The primary focus is the living room, but also consider your entry space while we're talking about the living room. All right, here we go. Our goal as we consider our living room and the work that we have to do there is to intentionally build traction in our homes, in our management of our homes, how we manage our homes, and also improve the order within our home and the order within our attitude. Having a cheerful gratitude that is ready to do the work of maintaining our home, of making our home, because we are all homemakers. And you can, if you haven't yet, you can get the checklist for the week and emails every day to help you stay on track by going to simplyconvivial.com/October. So my name is Mystie Winckler. I am a mom of 5, grandmother of 1, homeschooling mom, 2 graduates, and 3 still at home. And I have a few podcasts and some books. I have the Simply Convivial podcast, which is short but meaty focus sessions to help you keep your head in the game as a homemaker. And then the Simplified Organization podcast, Learn to Love What Must Be Done, are interviews with other moms about things they've learned, things they've tried. There are some mom interviews there with other podcasting moms or other blogger moms or Instagram moms, names maybe you might recognize, but at least 50% are actually just moms I know that I'm like, I know you don't have a podcast, I know you're not online, but can you share that with people? Would you come onto my podcast and just share that? Because that is a great insight, or that's a great idea. And so it's just a mom chat, but they are only 15 to 20-ish minutes each. So I'm big on not wasting your time and just getting right to the kernel without a lot of empty talk. That's my goal. My books are The Convivial Homeschool, Gospel Encouragement for Keeping Your Sanity While Living and Learning Alongside Your Kids. It has 30 short chapters that help you see all the good things that are happening in your heart and in your home, even when the days are hard. The homeschooling is hard work. And when the days are hard, that's often where real significant value is happening in our homes and in ourselves and in our kids. So it's a little bit of a perspective shift that we aren't just looking for smooth and easy days only, because you get smooth and easy days sometimes by slacking off, and we need to dig in and work hard, even if that brings up hard emotions and hard things. So that's the Convivial Homeschool. Simplified Organization, Learn to Love What Must Be Done, is a 6-step, it's not a program, but it explains 6 steps that you can take to get order in your home and in your heart about your home, and really embrace your role as a homemaker in your head and through your hands. And then How to Use a Planner Without Wasting Time is a super short little book on how to use any planner at all, not a particular one, but any planner will work if you use it. So it's how to use any planner. All right, enough about all of that. Organize October, week 2. We covered all of this already. So I'm so excited for you to be joining today. The replays will be sent out, including with the slides. So if you're signed up for the Organize October challenge, then you'll get the replay link and also the slide download and the checklist for the week. So, Organize October, you've come to the right place. This challenge is for you. If your house feels like things aren't terrible chaos, but it's almost like it gets worse faster than you can keep up with it. Keeping house really is like a treadmill, and the more people are in your house and the more stuff that happens in your house is all bumping up the speed on the treadmill. And so if we keep the same pace while the speed is bumping up, we are going to just slide backwards and maybe eventually fall off the treadmill entirely. And so we need to recognize when and how to pick up our pace, but it's actually normal for some kind of pace to have to continue. You can never stop. You don't just, on a treadmill, you can't catch up. It's not a track or something where you're like, if I just run and sprint, then I'm going to back off and stop and catch my breath or whatever. I'm going to be the hare and the tortoise and the hare and get far ahead so that I can stop. And that just doesn't work in the house because entropy is real. Entropy is a part of it's a law of thermodynamics, right? Am I getting him right? It's one of the laws that's been formulated that things tend toward disorder. In this world, things don't get better on their own without some kind of human intervention. Things get worse, not better. And that's why God put people in the world to tend things. And then the world, all of creation fell when man fell. And so the disorder is even more in need of constant tending. But constant tending is what man was designed for and created for, even without sin in the world. So it's actually our job that we can embrace. But sometimes we want to just do that catch up so that then we can do nothing. But it really is this ongoing, it's designed to be like a treadmill where you don't stop. But you do end up getting used to the pace so that it's not a big deal. You don't have to feel like you're at an all-out running a race all the time. All right, so more on that later. If you want something like a spring clean burst, sometimes I find in October, it's like, oh, wow, I did not get the house to the state that I wanted to before school started. And then we were just nose to the grindstone getting school off the ground. And you look up and you're like, whoa, when is spring cleaning? What's going on? If you can't take time off out of your schedule and whatever to just get everything all together, but it feels like it needs it, this Organized October challenge is broken down to not require that much time, but have very significant small tasks that will make a big difference overall. And then you'll find that as you take those tasks, your momentum, your pace actually does pick up. The tasks are not just about the state of the house, they're about our state of energy and orientation in the house even. Organize October is right here. And if you need a kick in the pants to get your act together, then that's why I am here. Listen to the podcasts, short podcasts, but they will provide that kick in the pants. I know, because I need a kick in the pants, and that's why I keep doing this. It's because I'm talking to myself. I'm talking myself off the ledge, and I might as well just share it with everybody. So let's dig into the living room. We should consider what the living room is for before we start to clean it. Before we figure out our systems and manage our approach, we need to know the purpose of the space. And it's so easy for the living room in particular to be a kind of showpiece. If you look for how to organize your living room and all of that, you often find magazine spreads, Instagram pictures, HGTV shows, or all those things where the living room is like this static space that you're supposed to arrange and have so cozy and amazing. But then the thing is, if you make this space all beautiful and cozy and amazing, you know what happens? A person comes into the space and actually uses it. And then suddenly the space is no longer picture perfect with everything just so the way you put it. And so then it's easy to get frustrated. And if you've done that once or a few times, then it's super easy to fall over to the other end of the spectrum and say, since I can't keep the living room looking the way I want all the time, I'm just going to not bother with the living room at all. It's just a free-for-all room. It's just the mess room, just whatever. Let people use it. I'm not going to touch it. And those are the two ditches that we have. But the living room is for living, and it's our job to maintain the space so that it can be used for its purpose. The living room is one of the places that we as a homemaker we keep up with. I like to think of the living room as a stage. The stage, like if there's no production on the stage, a stage is boring. There's no, it's not useful. But a stage with a few well-placed props and good lighting is amazing when there's a production on it. The stage with its backdrops and with its entrances and exits and lighting makes a production possible. But the production is what everyone's eyes are on. And it's how good the production is that determines whether or not people think it's a good stage, right? Without a production happening, there's no real point to the stage. And so the production is life, a full life with lots of people and action. And then when there's a production happening on the stage is going to require upkeep and maybe set changes. And then it's going to have to be reset before the production can happen again. And so that kind of management, set management, stage management is what our job as homemakers is like. It's much more like that than it is like home staging. But we tend to think that homemaking is the same thing as home staging. Like the ability to set it up just so that it looks good in pictures. But whether or not our living room looks good in pictures really doesn't matter at all. The question is the living room facilitating, is it doing the work that it is there for? It has a purpose. And when we are making our home, we are helping the space function with its purpose. And then let's briefly pause or switch to talk about the entry to your house. I see in the chat, some people are talking about their arrangement. And so you have the door that comes into the entryway, or you have the split level. We lived in a split level entrance for a while. But no matter what it is, The comings and goings are often where clutter collects. And that's another point of easy frustration for us as homemakers. But some of that frustration is from thinking of our job more like home stagers than home managers. So if there's a lot of coming and going, and the keys, the bags, the outerwear, the shoes, whatever gets set down in the entryway, or coats that need to be hung up, or there will be stuff coming in and out of that space. And so we don't solve the problem by trying to eliminate the stuff or the people or the comings and goings. We have to consider how we can use our space to make the space functional. And the function of the entry is the comings and the goings. Another definition of organized, or the definition I use, it's easy to just imagine, being organized means that everything looks just so with cute labels, and basically organized means micromanaged. So nothing is ever where I don't want it to be. That doesn't really work in families. We can have that maybe when we are widowed grandmas, and so there are no other people in the house. Then things will stay where we put them, probably. But is that actually how you want your life to be? You don't want your living room or your kitchen or your entryway to actually function as if you were a widowed empty nester living all alone. The signs of life, and the signs of family life in particular, are not a problem that you have to eliminate. That's actually the function that you are trying to better facilitate. So a better understanding of organization is actually, can you find a thing when you need it? Everything has a home so that it only takes you a minute or two to find something when you need it. That's basic organization. That's real life organization. So, for instance, the car keys, if they're the kind of things you come in the house with them and then set them down, and however many drivers you have in the house, the keys get set in different places, and then other things get shifted around. If there's no intentional home for the keys that's convenient in the place where the transition's actually happening, right? If there's a lid on something and so it takes an extra action to put the keys, you're probably asking too much. It needs to be easy, obvious where to put the things. So we just have I've used different things over the year. Right now it's a short, wide vase that I'm using. It's been a bowl. We've had little hooks by the door. I think some kind of dish works the best. You just drop the keys in as you're coming by. It's in a convenient location. You can just drop the keys in, just pick the keys up. Or hang the coats up, add hooks. So it's just super easy. Don't have shoe racks where you have to take your shoes off and lift them and put them in exactly the right little spot. Just have a basket or a corner that you can kick your shoes off and just kick them into the right space. That's organized. That's organized for family life. Make it obvious and easy and quick for things to not be in the path. So because the function is to come in and out, so you want to keep the path clear, and you want to be able to find things when you need it. And what are the things we lose? We lose our keys and our shoes, or our 5-year-olds lose the shoes and we lose the keys. So what do you lose? Try something out for organizing that in a very fast, close, easy, convenient way. And it's going to take trial and error. Just try something and see how it works, and you'll learn more about your options and what might or might not work when you just try something out instead of trying to just imagine and pick the very best thing right off the bat. Learn from experience. Learn how your family works. Watch the traffic patterns that your people actually have, and then pick some solution optimized for the real patterns and the real personalities that make up your household. So I see Tabitha says, I can't get my kids to put their shoes in the basket right by the door. So totally normal. Try watching, just without saying anything or without reminding them. Watch them a few times and see what their patterns actually are. How many extra actions does it take? Could you, I'm thinking of just, I mean, we don't have a container. It's just by the door. Like there's a spot. And so you can kick off your shoes and kick them over to that spot. And then EHAP, which is our 15-minute put everything away. It stands for everything has a home. So by the door is not the home for shoes. But sometimes the shoes need to come off by the door, and maybe it is the home in your house. And if that's the case, like just let people kick them off, but once a day they go in the basket. Or we just kick them off and in one particular direction where they stay out of the way. And if they pile up too much, or if someone's coming over, or if I say it's EHAP time, which is at least once a day, part of EHAPing is for those shoes to go to the person's bedrooms. And so whoever is EHAPing, someone EHAPs shoes and they deposit shoes in the right bedrooms. There are all kinds of different options, and be creative and prioritize facilitating the patterns and the use cases for your family rather than implementing something that looks nice in a photo or an idea you got from TV or Instagram or Pinterest or Target. Start with your family's actual needs and behaviors. And instead of trying to match them to your aesthetic, match your aesthetic and approach to them. Okay, your home is a stage for the drama of fully lived lives. I think we covered that fairly well already. And the thing to remember as we're figuring out patterns and decluttering options and cleaning things that our families need, that our homes need, we have to remember that families are not mass produced. So that's what that helps us remember, is that just because Target sells a basket or a shoe rack to go by the door and it looks great in the picture, and you can imagine a world in which everyone meticulously takes off their shoes and places them in the right spot, doesn't that might not align with reality, and that's okay. It's our job as homemakers to manage and facilitate our one particular family with its own idiosyncrasies. And the fact that our family has idiosyncrasies is okay. We aren't trying to get our family to fit into the box that Target, Amazon, Real Simple, whatever the current thing is. It's not our goal to make it so that we have a big box functionality in our homes, but that we've come up with something creative and just right for our particular situation right now. And the situation will change. It's not like if you have 3-year-olds and 5-year-olds, then yeah, they're not putting their shoes in a basket. That's totally normal. They're not hanging up their coats properly. So what can they do? And move your expectations to that. This isn't about the living room, but when I had a 3-year-old, which I had a 3-year-old many times, I'd have them help me with the kitchen laundry. And often, if it was someone under 3, they liked to play in the drawer with the kitchen towels. And so for a season, I didn't fold the kitchen towels. Or the 3-year-old folded them, and whatever they actually did was like whatever. They put them away, whatever they called folding. And then the toddler would, rummage through it and add disorder. But it wasn't actually adding disorder, because if the towel was in the drawer, we were good. Now, I fold my kitchen towels now. I like folded kitchen towels, and I think that's a good way to do it. But during that time, it was acknowledging where I was and making what we did fit the actual people and situation. And it was very nice to be able to have a couple drawers that the 18-month-old could totally dismantle while I did dishes or cooked dinner or whatever. That was a part of the plan, instead of feeling, and all that was a decision on my part, that just towels in the drawer was enough. And so they weren't messing anything up if they played in them or, refolded them or did whatever. That was now part of the plan, instead of feeling like I was constantly under attack because everyone was always undoing everything I did. That was just a mindset shift. So consider entryway or living room. Where are you trying to fit your family into a preconceived, this is the way things ought to be, when there really isn't necessarily a reason that it has to be that way? As you look at your checklist for the living room week, your living room checklist, you'll see that it also, just like the kitchen one, is broken down into 4 sections. So there's the brain dump, and there are 3 prompts in there for you to brain dump about your living room and entryway spaces. And the brain dump, totally set a timer. Don't get lost in it and take a ton of time. Set a 5-minute timer and just brain dump through all 3 in 5 minutes. You'll be surprised at what you come up with and how it helps you problem solve and notice things and begin to be properly oriented to come up with those ways to troubleshoot your own particular situation. The brain dump time really is an important piece. So do take the time to brain dump. It really does help you get into problem solving mode. Then you're going to take baby steps. And the baby steps are 5-minute items. And you really should use a timer. Use a real timer. 5 minutes. You might even be able to do all the baby steps in 5 minutes, actually. But don't take more time than that for each step. Just do it quick. Do it quick and dirty. Not as a perfectionist. Perfectionism slows us down, gets in our way. So just quickly go through and tidy up without grumbling all the outerwear that's out of place, no matter who it belongs to. Coats, shoes, socks, like whatever. What is there, just put it away fast as you can with no grumbling. Then clear all the surfaces that are meant to be used for sitting on. Because remember, we're thinking about the purpose. So chairs and couches are for sitting on. That means they shouldn't just be like backpack holders or whatever. This is a big one for us now. We have to take care of several times a day. Part of it is just we are in a small space, so there's not room to give all the things easy, intentional homes. So people come in and they just dump their stuff on the couch because that's easy. So once a day, at least, for our EHAP time, those things get taken back to the bedrooms and put where they actually belong. But that's asking a bit too much immediately upon coming into the house. But if the couch is going to be sat on it can't have everyone's backpacks and coats on it. Or right now, the one corner we have a couch that has a like lounge bit on it, and that is everyone's favorite desk area. That's where people want to do their school, do their reading, do their everything. And so that means that then notebooks and book stacks and whatever build up on the couch. And so before school is done, it's like your books need to be put away, your papers need to be put away, including the ones on the couch. Don't just look at the table. Look at all the places you were working. So whatever the circumstances are in your house, sometimes it's not about telling people, okay, you can't do your schoolwork on the couch because I don't want books or papers on the couch. It's more like, all right, when you're done with school, though, all your school stuff needs to be put away. We're not going to perpetuate for days on end all this stuff building up, because it does build up very quickly. So at least once a day, just go through, and all the seating areas have to be available for actually sitting on. And actually, so this is EHAP. Like I've mentioned EHAP a few times. EHAP is how we keep our living room in order most of the time, or very quickly when we need to. And the EHAP guide is actually the free giveaway if you share. So if you haven't gotten the EHAP guide yet, I think most of you that are here have already signed up for Organize October, at least as far as names I can see. So if you shared it, you got the EHAP guide for free. If you would like the EHAP guide, which is really about living room management big time, then just share the Organize October challenge, and then hit reply on any email that I've sent, or go to the link here at the bottom on the screen, and we'll get that EHAP guide to you. I think that's going to be a huge helpful piece for this week's challenge. And as we're working on all of this, we have to be reorienting our attitude, remembering that our living room is a stage, not a showpiece, not a trophy, a stage that we are managing and resetting to neutral each day. The next section on the checklist has 3 iterate steps, which are more cleaning oriented, like dusting or whatever. But again, each one actually literally says spend 5 minutes and then something. So that's 15 minutes. The iterate step is just 15 minutes. And I really mean it. There might be more work to do. You might not be able to do all the dusting or all the tidying up or all of anything in 5 minutes, but just getting started and doing only 5 minutes and then counting it as done. It is a mind game. It is a trick. It will help you realize that you can just get started, even if you're not going to get it to amazing. Getting started, 5 minutes makes a huge difference. And to be able to do something for 5 minutes and then stop and look around and notice what you got done in 5 minutes is incredibly beneficial for our motivation and momentum in the living room and everywhere else. So I really encourage you to use a timer as you do these, and don't focus on getting things to picture perfect or decorated or some kind of ideal state that you've imagined, but you're managing the space and the stuff of your family so that your family can do what it's supposed to do. That's where the purpose and fulfillment in the living room actually happens. It's not from achieving the decorating style. It's from being able to create a space that serves our family. And so that's where the final step in the living room comes in. Repent, rejoice, repeat. We have to identify where we have resentment or bitterness or complaining about our space and repent of that. It's wrong. It's a sin. That means we can ask Jesus to forgive us and we can move on. He will completely remove that, clean us from that, so that we can then rejoice and actually be grateful for what we had just been complaining about. That's where we know that we've really repented. It's a change of direction. We had complaints and grumbling, but we asked Jesus to forgive us and we turned. And now we have gratitude and joy. And working with gratitude and joy motivates. It gives us momentum. It's the engine of our momentum. And repenting is how we get the rejoicing. So it's not just something like we have to grit our teeth and start rejoicing out of nowhere. It's a fruit of confessing and getting rid of, through Jesus' forgiveness, our bad attitudes. The Holy Spirit replaces our bad attitudes with his fruit: joy, self-control, patience. These are the things that we need when we're managing a house, right? The fruit of the Spirit. And it's not a one-time deal. All of this is ongoing. And so just accepting the fact that this is a part of the rhythm of our life, repenting and rejoicing on repeat, cleaning up shoes and toys and books on repeat is the name of the game. We can actually live with that instead of having repetition be something that we complain about. So as this week goes on and we're talking all about the living room, then stay tuned to the Simply Convivial podcast or the YouTube channel, because every day I'm going to be posting a short episode, like probably a 5-minute episode on each section, elaborating more on the point and just elaborating on each section a little bit more, and it can be something that you can listen to while you're doing this step. My goal in doing Organized October, my goal in doing any of it, the podcasts, our community, Convivial Circle, any of it, my goal in all of this is to see as many women as possible become engaged, competent, cheerful Christian homemakers. For myself, that was not my default setting when I got married, and it took a lot of time and a lot of work from the Holy Spirit and a lot of different avenues of things other people shared and books I read to come to a place of repentance and rejoicing. And now I need to be repeating. I'm here because I want to be an engaged, competent, cheerful Christian homemaker, and that takes ongoing work. It's not just a setting like, okay, now we're good to go. This takes ongoing work. I hope you want that as well. And these are the things that we do to honor God in our homes and in our work. So I'm so glad that you are here with me today. I wanted to share just lastly, just a couple of the things that people shared after week 1 with the kitchen. Donna said, mainly my life improved this week because with a good conscience, I shelved the stress of all the other rooms in the house that I need to organize, knowing that by the end of October, I will have made progress in most of my house. These are practical steps to dropping perfectionism and making some real progress. Yay! And then Melissa said, I was struck by the fact that I actually like my kitchen and I have so much to be grateful for. The 1 minute of prayer time, thanking God for every good thing about my kitchen, was such a wonderful exercise. I'm so glad. You didn't skip it, you tried it. And it's because of stopping for 1 minute in our kitchen and actually praying a prayer of gratitude about what we've been given and the resources that we have to do the good work God has given us is not something we normally do. But why isn't it? It's not that much time, and there's such incredible fruit from it. So try it. It's amazing. All right. And Samantha said, even though it doesn't last, it's worth the effort to shine things up. And I decided once a week I could make the sink area and above window sparkle. It really is 100 times more cheerful. It really takes a lot less than we initially imagine to get our space and our headspace to the point where we can be cheerful homemakers. It doesn't take a perfect space. It doesn't take a perfect system. It doesn't take perfect routines. We can take little steps with gratitude in service to God and our family, we will find joy and fulfillment and satisfaction in ongoing work.